Hi everyone, my name is Mateus, and today we're going to talk about video games. P-Cube Games has been accused of withholding a developer's diversity grant. Toge Productions and Mojican Studio agreed a deal with P-Cube to handle the console publishing of its upcoming game A Space for the Unbound. However, Toge and Mojican now allege that P-Cube used the fact the studios are based in Indonesia to get a diversity fund from a well-known console platform, then chose not to pass the money on to them. Instead, the studios claim that P-Cube intentionally withheld information about the grant and used it as a leverage for their own commercial gain. In a joint statement on Twitter, the studios announced that A Space for the Unbound had been delayed until further notice, while they tried to find a new publisher for the console versions of their game. Earlier this year we discovered that P-Cube Games, a UK-based publisher that we signed for the console publishing of A Space for the Unbound for Western regions, had done certain things which have left us feeling manipulated and exploited, and so we have had to terminate our agreement with them, the statement reads. At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in August 2020, P-Cube Games used our position and heritage as developers from Indonesia to obtain a diversity fund from a well-known console platform. The Diversity Fund was a grant fund intended to help underrepresented game developers, especially during the pandemic. However, instead of giving those funds to the developers as the grant was intended, P-Cube Games intentionally withheld information about the grant and used it as a leverage for their own commercial gain. Rather than paying the grant money to us, P-Cube Games hid the facts about the grant's award and added it as a recoupable minimum guarantee and then used it to negotiate the increase of their revenue share. We have only uncovered the true amount of these funds and their intended purposes in March 2022. We are absolutely heartbroken that a party we worked with would do this, and a project we have worked on for 7 years has been taken advantage of in such a way. Since the uncovering of this issue, we clearly cannot trust P-Cube Games nor continue to work together for the release of A Space for the Unbound, as P-Cube Games has fallen considerably short not only of reasonable decency, but also of their obligations to us due to these predatory practices. We have to make a stand against exploitative publishers and speak up about this to stop things like this from happening again in the future. Thus, we are also announcing that we have terminated our contract with P-Cube Games. As of this moment, P-Cube Games is still refusing to hand over publishing control on console platforms back to us. It is with a heavy heart that we must hold back the release of A Space for the Unbound so that we can make new arrangements and ensure that it is published as intended and in a way that is consistent with our and our community's values. After that, the company made an additional statement. We of Toge Productions and Mojican Studio do not encourage nor wish for people to do negative or harmful actions such as review bombing, boycotting or others on others' games published by P-Cube Games. Doing so will affect the developers who created the game and have nothing to do with our situation with A Space for the Unbound. All we ask is for people to read our statement and for your understanding of your delay. Hogwarts Legacy Collector's Edition unboxing shows off floating wand. Posted to its YouTube channel, the video shows the various items that will come with the £300 edition of the game, which will launch in February. Hogwarts Legacy Collector's Edition contents include the deluxe edition of the game, a steelbook featuring Hogwarts crest, an ancient magic wand, and an ancient magic book stand for the wand. The wand floats above the book when the book is plugged in. Xbox's Phil Spencer wants to see fewer platform exclusives, more crossplay in future. Chatting to Bloomberg, Spencer stated that platform exclusives are something we were all going to see less and less of in future, as he hopes for an industry that encourages people to feel safe and included regardless of what device they play on. Spencer said he also wanted to see more crossplay possibilities on the market. Maybe you happen in your household to buy an Xbox and I buy a PlayStation and our kids want to play together and they can't because we bought the wrong piece of plastic to plug into our television, he explained. When thinking of crossplay, Spencer stated he therefore believed fewer exclusives would be good for this industry in the long run. He continued, maybe in the short run, there's some people in some companies that don't love it. But I think as we get over the hump and see where this industry can continue to grow, it will prove out to be true. GTA producer's new game doesn't have NFTs. The first game of Gamescom's opening night live was Everywhere, a shooting game led by the producer of the Grand Theft Auto series. However, the announcement and developer interview was so vague that many people started speculating that the game might be hosted on the blockchain. Today, the developers clarified that Everywhere will not be built on the blockchain, but did not completely rule out the technology. We do not like dismissing new technologies only because others haven't found a solution for them yet, said a community manager. According to the Everywhere website, the game blends gameplay, adventure, creativity and discovery in an all-new multi-world gaming experience that redefines how players connect with one another and with the digital world. If that sentence just sounded like buzzword salad to you, then don't worry. So did the developer interviews during opening night live. When asked about exactly what the game was, Assistant Director Adam Whiting was evasive about sharing more details. "We want to build a whole new world for gamers," said Whiting. "We want not just a place to play, but to watch, share, create, hang out with your friends, and so much more." The vagueness has been worrying to fans who are used to non-answers from NFT studios. Some Twitter users pointed out that Build a Rocket Boy was hiring for a developer on the blockchain team. The job posting specifically called for AAA game development experience, as well as experience with implementing blockchain contracts. According to the studio, the job is a research position. But they haven't stated that Everywhere will never have blockchain or pay-to-earn elements either. Build a Rocket Boy was founded by GTA veteran Leslie Benzies after he had left Rockstar North in 2016 over a $150 million royalties lawsuit against the studio. They announced Everywhere in 2017, but gave scant concrete details about how the game actually played. Their social media accounts continue to be sparse except for pictures of the game's logo. Which is kind of worrying if the game is coming out in 2023 as planned. Studio Onoma could be Square Enix's new Western studio venture. The studio is the subject of a pending application that appeared on the Canadian Trademarks database last week. According to the application, Studio Onoma will primarily design, develop and publish computer and video game software. It may also produce various goods including strategy guides, toys, games and playthings, namely action figures, and handheld battery-operated games. The trademark applicant is listed as Square Enix Nuco Limited, a recently established company based in London, UK. According to Companies House, Square Enix Nuco was incorporated on April 19, 2022. The nature of its business is listed as publishing of computer games. The Nintendo Switch is Denuvo's next DRM target. Denuvo, an anti-cheat and DRM, digital rights management, software that has become synonymous with performance issues, is coming to Nintendo Switch games in an attempt to block users from emulating games on PC. The service claims the new software has no impact on the gaming experience. Denuvo's software currently comes bundled with a number of games on PC, including Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, FIFA 22, Deathloop, and many, many more. The software has a history of affecting performance on the games it's included with, and when its servers go down, all the games it supports go down with it. Fans even pleaded with the developers of Humankind to remove it, which the studio ended up doing. Denuvo's implementation on the Switch is made specifically to prevent users from emulating their games on PC. While Denuvo's pretty light on the details, it sounds like it may prevent Switch users from dumping the contents of their games on PC, which they would then run with an emulator. This only applies to the games that actually use the software, of course, and right now, there's no telling which developers might adopt it or what impact it might have on games running it. Nintendo has grappled with piracy issues for years. In 2019, Nintendo sued ROM Universe, a site that houses a library of thousands of pirated games, over brazen and mass-scale infringement. Nintendo won its $2.1 million lawsuit against the site's owner in May 2021 and subsequently ordered him to destroy all Nintendo ROMs on the site in August. That obviously didn't solve all of Nintendo's problems though, as some PC gamers got access to an emulated version of Metroid Dread just days after it was released for the Switch last October. Nintendo may even be going after YouTubers who emulate their games on Steam Deck as well, as it appears to have issued a takedown request for a video that shows players how to install and use an emulator. It's not yet known when exactly Switch developers will start using the software. That's all the news for today, August 24, 2022. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. The links to all the subjects discussed in this video are available in the description below. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time.